Hi, my presentation is on storage units for the energy industry by Christine Damani. The first question I want to ask is, how can we be sustainable? When we're creating a device that can be used to store all the energy that the wind and solar is producing, this should be essential for our future. Figuring out new innovations to store the energy being created by nature is also essential, so we've got to be able to figure out how to capture all of that energy being produced. Looking into different battery options could elevate the storage options. And then with everything the energy industries are trying to achieve today, there's always going to be challenges to face either today or in the future. In today's world, people fear change, but they're always trying to improve on what we already have. Nothing stays the same and is always needing to be updated and or changed out for something new due to the harsh climate of the world's energy storage that they're having to endure. When it comes to harvesting and storage ideas, while coming up with ideas for storage units, it needs to be researched and they need to process the ideas from a different perspective. They need to increase the storage capacity to process power producing units to satisfy the demands of companies, which is known as unit commitment. They also need to take in the different weather environments that the system will have to endure. If it's going to be in the desert with a lot of sand and the heat, or is it going to be up in the mountains where there's a lot of wind? They need to take that into consideration. Also, we need to take into account of the extremely sunny or windy days that's going to have the increased energy that is being produced. Can we keep up with those demands, and can the storage unit keep up with those demands as well? With the battery size, we need to get an ultimate goal and then an attainable goal in getting the battery to be able to increase the storage unit. Goals are always the first step to making sure you're getting the ideal storage unit of what you're really needing. When looking into the battery size, they also need to look at the energy grid and see what is essential and what is not essential in the battery storage unit. With the storage options, aside from the battery options, there are a couple other options to look into. Electrical systems with capacitors, chemical systems with hydrogen storage using fuel cells, mechanical systems with pumped hydroelectric storage, and then thermal storage with a sensible heat storage. For battery options, there are a couple different options to look into as well. Is it going to be the primary battery? Are we looking at a secondary battery option? And the battery option for grid scale energy with fuel cells and electrochemical capacitors. Figuring out a battery option that works best with the grid is going to be a puzzle in itself for the energy industry anyways. They've got to be able to get it right. What to consider? Company needs to consider the health and environmental issues of what is going on outside. We need to look into the specifications of what is going to be required of that unit to be able to get the unit that we're really needing and that's going to work for everybody. And then as far as the battery is concerned, we need to know if it's going to be for a small scale or a vast scale. So as far as small, are we looking at for an area? For a vast scale, are we looking at for a state or for the country? Some of the faults of energy storage. When looking into a storage unit, we need to look at some of the facts to acquire the right storage unit for energy production. First, are we adding a unit to the current, or are we placing it all together? We need to see what the energy interruptions are going to look like. We also need, when we add a new unit, how much energy is going to be wasted on the new unit when being set up, as well as over a period of time, so there's got to be tests done. Challenges. Can it be changed or added without any interruptions? That's essential, because if there's a little power outage, it could cause problems for the consumers, the industry, as well as the companies. How much is the unit going to cost? There's always a price tag on a unit. A lot of them are more expensive, even though the prices have been coming down over the last decade. Getting it approved with the board, the investors, insurers, and the company. Not one person has a say in what the unit is going to look like. That needs to have an approval from everybody. Once they figure this out, it's time to look at the electrical controls. They need to make sure that's operational and it's easy to control for a person who's working in the industry. In conclusion, when the energy energy company is looking into purchasing a new unit or adding a new unit, is there going to be a new product, and how many complications will it have when installing? Nothing is perfect right away. There are going to be some problems and complications. That's just the way of life. We need to look at every aspect and make sure it will run without interruptions, because in today's world, having no electricity can actually cause chaos throughout the state or country, even if it's for short periods of time. This not only causes problems for the consumers, because today's world we have to have electricity. It's going to cause problems for the companies who are supplying the electricity. It's going to cause problems for the industry, for the companies who are supplying the energy, which could lead into a mass chaos. So being able to know that when we set up a new unit or have a new unit, that there's not going to be any interruptions, that is key to what we're trying to achieve. So a new unit, is it worth it or is it not worth it? Today's world, I think it's worth it. Thank you. Have a great day.